From clarkwoods.com. This is Horribly Off Topic, episode number 116. I am Chris.
And I'm Steve.
And here we go.
Yes,
here we go. I don't know. I was trying to think of something.
Here I go again on my own.
Going down the only road I've ever known. Is that from something?
That is from a song.
No, I know it's from a song, but that particular version that you were starting down the path of, was that from something, or was that just straight out of your own brilliant skull?
No, that was from the version that I was saying was from Strong Bad Emails.
Strong Bad. Oh, email. Yeah. I got to find all the things. I just want to be able, last week I think I threw something in, or like 2 weeks ago I threw something in. As long as I have the clip just sitting right there on my hard drive, easy enough to find, it's very easy for me to just slot in sound effects. But if I don't have them,
this sound effect you're about to put in,
yes, perfectly timed. Sounds a little bit different every time too. I do a lot of work on the beer sound effect, the beer can sound.
I think that was the really good one that you isolated that one time.
Yeah.
And because I already opened my beer, you're like, oh, I'll just slap that in there to make it seem like
you have a beer. Becky made me a drink. It's awesome. I have to say that, by the way. I should say
we got
right off the bat.
So yeah, we got the good vodka. We've been using Goslings for our ginger beer. As far as
you've been like slaughtering geese to make ginger beer.
No, there's a certain type of ginger beer called Goslings, and it's basically the easiest type to find. You can get it at Market Basket or any store, but we got some really good stuff.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the drink's a little bit better than average.
It's not that it's ever bad. I just happen to think, this is.
No, I happen to not care. Well, I mean, I don't think it's gross, but in comparison to other types of ginger beer, I enjoy almost every other one more than Goslings.
So you enjoy every other one more than Gosling?
Yes.
So Goslings is bad.
It's bad for me, but
for you.
I will drink it if it's what we have.
You don't like to fuck a goose, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I've never wanted to fuck a goose and never have fucked a goose.
Not even mother goose. Like when you're little and you hear the stories.
If you're gonna fuck a book.
No. Like Mother Goose, she told you all those awesome stories. You didn't have like a Florence Nightingale, Florence Henderson kind of thing going on, where you're being read to in bed by your nurse, and you're just like, you know what? I really like it when
from my nurse.
Nurse, as in Nana was the nurse of the Darling kids. Right?
The Darling kids.
The Darling kids. They're darling. They until they go off with Peter Pan, and then they kind of get fucked up.
Yes.
Goose. Mother Goose. She's buried in a cemetery that was right next to a building I worked in.
Wow, where is that?
In Boston.
Oh, wow.
Supposedly. She's buried there with Sam Adams. And
the beer man?
The beer man. Sam Adams and Mother Goose are in this cemetery that's right between the Park Street Church, where my grandparents were married, and the building that I worked in some 60.
So I walk by that cemetery every day, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, every work day.
Every work day.
Holy shit. I need to go. Well, maybe if I'm going to be late for my bus, I might as well just resign myself to being late for my bus and go check out Mother Goose's grave.
Pay your respects.
Yeah.
Maybe then you'll develop the feelings.
Drill a hole in the ground and try to fuck it.
Yeah.
What is that man doing?
People bury their feelings down deep, Steve.
I bury my wood.
People have strong feelings about lots of things, including clowns.
Oh God, are we back on clowns?
Well, there's this thing, and I saw it, and I wanted to get your take on it. Because I don't think. Well, maybe you saw this tweet too, which would be cheating. But Patton Oswalt.
I didn't see the tweet. So
drink. Patton Oswalt suggested last week. In the wake of, I guess, McDonald's deciding to scale back Ronald McDonald's public appearances, Patton Oswalt...
Did he have a lot of public appearances?
I was not aware, but apparently Ronald McDonald was still a person that was out there. They're Grimace, the Fry Kids, all those people, fuck them. They're often...
I think the Grimace should take the reins.
They're off in a basement somewhere with the Hamburglar. But Ronald was still out there.
At least it's better than the Ham Diddler.
I don't know. It's a matter of perspective. No, so Patton suggested in the wake of this news, because there's all this clown craziness going on, that Ronald McDonald should form an elite squad of clowns.
Like a flip mode squad?
Maybe a posse. Oh. Maybe an elite, like an insanely elite
clown posse
of clowns. Yeah, to take out the creepy forest clowns. And I wanted to know,
like an inner city posse?
Possibly. I wanted to know if you, Steve, who has not seen this tweet by Mr. Oswald, if you were to imagine, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say 5. 5 clowns that you would put on this posse with Ronald McDonald as their leader. So 5 additional
Would they
clowns.
have to be wicked clowns?
Would they have to be wicked clowns? I don't know. It depends on if it's a wicked game they play.
Oh, no. Hey! We put Krusty the Clown on there.
Krusty! That is not one that's on the list, but I like that one. So you would put Krusty. Krusty the Clown would be on your list. Krusty would be the first of Steve's 5.
Of clowns? I mean,
clowns that Ronald would put on his team.
Sure, let's put Krusty the Clown on
Krusty
there.
the Clown is on there.
Can we get Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope on there?
Yeah, those are two you have in common with Mr. Oswald. He forgot about Dre. No, he forgot about Krusty. Don't forget about Krusty. Don't sleep on Krusty.
I won't.
Ugh, that sounds bad.
I've drank nothing but milkshakes for 3 days.
All right, so you got Krusty and Violent J and Shaggy. So that's 3. Who would your other 2 members of your clown posse? I mean, your clown gang, elite squad.
Elite squad. Flip mode squad.
Yeah, flip mode squad.
What other clowns or what is the one like in those paintings? Ansel Adams.
Ansel Adams is a clown?
I think so.
Okay.
My mother used to have all these clowns.
Ansel Adams clown. Okay. All right.
There's like one of those tramp clowns.
Okay.
With like a shoe that was like all exploding or whatever.
Oh. Is the Joker a clown? Could you put the Joker on your squad?
Is that what you're trying to get at?
No, that's actually not one of the ones on there. But okay. now that you have gotten me, that I've gotten you thinking about
other clowns,
I'm wondering if the Joker is another one that Mr. Oswald forgot about. I like calling him Mr. Oswald.
What was Bozo the clown?
That was another one of his. So I think that
I remember Canopy Lake used to have like a show with like Bozo the clown.
Bozo the clown, like the original.
I don't know
because wasn't he was from around here, right?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Or maybe it was at Whalum Park.
Oh, for a whale of a time,
right? Listen to one of our other shows where we talk about old amusement parks.
We get local for you. I hate myself. So you had Bozo, Violent J, Shaggy, Krusty. Shaggy 2 Dope, Krusty, and then
there was a game for the Super Nintendo that I rented once called Krusty's Funhouse.
Oh, the Joker. Krusty. What is in this drink?
Vodka. It was Krusty's Funhouse, and basically you were like this super deformed version of Krusty the Clown.
Okay.
And you were trying to get all these rats into little doors. It was basically like a puzzle game.
Rats into doors.
That's as far as I can remember for it. And every time they came out with a Simpsons game for the Super Nintendo, I was like, "Fuck you! Bring out the Simpsons
the
like arcade game."
Right.
Like, and
which
I'm like,
they never did.
They never brought it out until I have it for the PS3, but. So it's an exact port of both the Japanese and English version of the game, and it's like, oh, it only took fucking 25 years to do that.
I mean, I think they had a version of it that came out around the same time.
I think they had a
PS3 version for iOS.
Yeah, they might have.
But it was not quite the same.
But it was a perfect. Like they did Turtles in Time, which was the second arcade machine of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And they put a port of that onto the Super Nintendo. I mean, it wasn't exactly the same, But it was a damn good game.
It was better than the previous Ninja Turtles game that was which was also not a port of the arcade game.
No, but the original Ninja Turtles game was just a game like that I think Acclaim put out, and then they put out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which was the arcade game, which was on the NES, which was like if you think about it, it was an okay port,
right?
Because
given the limitations of the NES,
yeah. So like it wasn't bad, but like it still wasn't like as good as Turtles in Time was in comparison to the arcade version. But like I mean, obviously the arcade version is better,
right?
But the Super NES version is pretty darn good, and they could have probably done almost exactly the same thing with the Simpsons game. And I don't know why they would there was Bart's Nightmare, which was just like he was asleep and you had to do all these mini games to get pieces of his homework together so he would pass the test or whatever. I don't know.
Don't have a cow, man.
Yeah, and then like they just had a bunch of different like Simpsons games for Super Nintendo that were just like, what? I mean, Krusty's Funhouse, like to bring it all back in, wasn't a bad game. It was a fun little puzzle game, but it wasn't the game that I wanted.
Yeah.
Not that I ever bought it. So,
the one clown that you did not mention that Patton Oswalt had on his list was Homie. As in Homie
Homie the Clown.
Homie the Clown.
I remember him.
I mean,
because Homie don't play that.
Yeah, you need if you're going to form an elite squad, you need a Wayans brother, at least one.
Yes,
preferably that one. Was that Damon or was that?
I think it was Damon Wayans.
Damon was the clown. Homie.
Right.
Homie don't play that. Jennifer Lopez was on that show.
She was. She was the butt one of the butt dancers.
Yeah, Fly Girl. Get the name right, Steve. She's not a butt dancer.
Oh, I thought they were called butt dancers.
I don't die. You get butts on the brain.
I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does that hurt when you've got a butt on the brain?
I don't think I wanted to
stun silence.
I just didn't want to acknowledge that with any sort of response.
I understand. Do you think Donald Trump has a butt on the brain like all the time?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
is that why he says such stupid shit?
Well, I mean, we have
stupid?
to. We have to just say this is entirely our opinion that we think that the things that Donald Trump says.
Oh yes.
Are stupid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, we're stupid, so obviously...
Stupid as stupid does.
Our opinions don't mean anything.
Ass? They don't mean
They don't mean ass.
And they don't mean anything either.
No, I'm just, I mean, not that I think he would ever listen to this show, but he is the kind of type to sue somebody for saying that he's an idiot.
Yeah, including the New York Times.
Yes.
Did you read what the New York Times had to say to him?
I don't know. Do you have the actual article?
I actually do. And well, it's a letter that the New York Times sent. And I thought, given that our 3 episodes ago we had a show called "Liable to Commit Libel," that this would be good follow up.
Right.
So this is from I don't know. This does not have a date on it. Oh my goodness.
Because libel is print. So we would be committing slander.
Yes, that's true. Okay. So this is from the David E. McCraw, who I believe represents the New York Times, to Mark E. Kazowitz, Esquire, who represents Donald Trump, regarding demand for retraction. And it reads like this. Dear Mr. Kazowitz, I write in response to your letter of October 12th, 2016, to Dean Baquet.
The Dean?
To Dean Baquet? To Dean Ween? No, to Dean Backett. Concerning your client...
The Dean of Greendale Community College?
The bursar. You punched the bursar. No.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to bring back up clowns again.
Clowns. Donald Trump, could he be on the Insane Clown Posse? I mean, the elite clown death squad?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. If he wanted to.
If he wanted to.
I mean, he could dress up like a silly goose if he wanted to.
Oh, I think he's quite capable.
So we went to Mega Maze yesterday, and this is why I forgot to bring it up earlier when we were still talking about clowns. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of like clowns, people that were trying to scare people in the maze.
Yeah.
Why are you drinking so much?
I don't know.
I didn't say anything about. Oh,
No,
I have
no,
another thing to say.
I just felt like drinking. I felt like getting the drinking out of the way, and then the rest of the show would be that much more fun. Because if Chris drinks fast, Chris is drunk for half the show, or buzzed, or whatever.
Yeah. But so, yeah, there was a lot of clowns, and there was one that was claiming to be crusty. And I used my patented technique. And for those of you who don't remember last year when I went to the Mega Maze, the best way to break the fourth wall, as far as the someone who's trying to scare you in a haunted house or some sort of haunted situation, the best way to break the fourth wall and make them not be scary anymore is to call them a name. And I'm not saying a dirty or bad name. I'm just saying give them a name regardless of what it is. Like my two, or the two that I used last year, the one that I used this year, 2 years last year were Phil and Russell. So if someone would jump up and try to scare me, I would say, Phil? And then they would be like, I'm not Phil. Because I guess it has something to do with the ego.
Right.
That it messes with their brains and they're like, I need to identify that I'm not the person he thinks I am.
Yeah. Whereas if their id were in charge.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris.
I think everybody should take a drink when there's an awkward silence when Steve is just like, I don't even know what to say to him right now. And there's just
fiddle fucked with what you're saying.
Nobody's going to know what the hell that was. That was a reference from before the show.
Yeah, I know. So it's perfect.
Fiddle fucked.
But yeah, there was a lot of different clowns, and then like there was this one that kept on being like, I'm crusty, you come play with me, and I'm like, shut up, Phil. And he's like, I'm not Phil.
They can't just ignore it. I wonder if that works. I mean, I wish I'd thought about this. I wish I'd had you to advise me. And of course, we didn't start recording the show until after I came back from Disney World. But I wish I'd had you there to advise me so that when I bumped into like a Disney World character, that I'd had the sense to try and see if I could make them break.
I don't know if they probably have like strict like, you know, this is different than like a fucking corn maze in Sterling, Massachusetts.
They do have strict. I know somebody who works at Disney with portraying one of the characters, and they're not even allowed to say that they portray one of the characters. The way, like if they're on social media, that they're allowed to talk about it is that they're allowed to say, I am hanging out with so and so. And that is the way that you know that this person is going to play Rafiki or the Evil Queen or whatever it might be.
Okay.
A lot of the people in there are women. I don't know if you knew this.
In the costumes?
Like regardless, yeah, if you got a costume like Donald Duck, Chip and Dale, a lot of them are women because if you like look at the height, or short men, because if you look at the heights, they don't want them to be, you know, sort of towering over the people that they're standing next to.
Yeah, because like a majority of the people that they're standing next to are children.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. At any rate, so you call Phil? Was what you called
Phil?
Krusty?
Or last year it was Russell because I heard like the corn rustling and I'm like, Russell?
Russell? Okay. So Donald Trump.
So back to the guy I think is a dipshit.
Dear Mr. Kazowitz, I write in response to your letter of October 12th, 2016 to Dean Backett concerning your client, Donald Trump, the Republican Party nominee for President of the United States. That part seems excessive. Like did he need to write all of that? Or could he have just said your client, Donald Trump? At any rate.
Can I dump my beer on your new phone to see if it works and it's waterproof?
It's water resistant, and I don't know that it is.
Is
beer
it water
resistant.
absorbent?
Water absorbent? I don't know.
Is it super absorbent phone?
Is it super absorbent?
Is
yes,
it like
it is Charmin.
They need to have like a sponge phone.
Sponge phone SquarePants?
No, just a sponge phone. So you can call somebody, hey, sorry, I'm doing the dishes. And like you could answer the phone while you're doing the dishes because your phone is the sponge.
Right. And but then they start to hear you scrubbing the dishes with them.
Well, you could hang up after.
What does that say to your friend if you're scrubbing the dishes with them while they're talking to you?
That you value them as a valuable cleaning asset.
You write concerning our article, 2 women say Donald Trump touched them inappropriately and label the article as libel per se. You ask that we, quote, remove it from our website and issue a full and immediate retraction and apology, unquote. We decline to do so. The essence of a libel claim, and this is why I thought it was important for us to talk about, because when we had our episode Libel to Commit Libel, I don't think we quite remembered what the definition was. So this is, Mr. David A. McCraw explaining libel to Mr. Mark E. Kazowitz. The essence of a libel claim, of course, is the protection of one's reputation. Okay. Mr. Trump has...
He does these impressions.
Mr. Trump has bragged about his non-consensual sexual touching of women. He has bragged about intruding on beauty pageant contestants in their own dressing rooms. Oh, I thought you were going to burp again after every claim.
No, I'm not on command guy.
All right. He acquiesced to a radio host's request to discuss Mr. Trump's own daughter as a, quote, piece of ass, unquote. Multiple women have not mentioned in our article have publicly come forward to report on Mr. Trump's unwanted advances.
Hold on a second. The thing I think about Trump is that this is just my opinion. This is not fact. But I think the reason why he attacks people like fat people so much, is that he wants every woman in the world to look just like his daughter Ivanka, so he could have sex with his daughter.
Yeah, I think this is true over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Wait, does the fact that I just said I think this is true mean that I committed slander just now?
But
I said I think.
You think,
right? Just by putting the words "I think" up front.
It's your opinion. It's not fact.
Yeah.
We have not ever consulted Trump on this. It's just something we think.
Oh, what do you think it's like to consult with Trump?
I don't even want to fucking imagine.
Nothing in our article has had the slightest effect on the reputation that Mr. Trump, through his own words and actions, has already created for himself.
Correct.
But there is a larger and more important point here. The women quoted in our quoted. There is a lot of alcohol in this drink.
Read a rabbit.
The women quoted in our stories spoke out on an issue of national importance. Indeed, an issue that Mr. Trump himself discussed with the whole nation during Sunday night's presidential debate. Our reporters diligently worked to confirm the women's accounts. They provided readers with Mr. Trump's response. That is quite okay. They provided readers with Mr. Trump's response, including his forceful denial of the women's reports. It would have been a disservice not just to our reporters, but to democracy itself to silence their voices. We did what the law allows. We published newsworthy information about a subject of deep public concern. If Mr. Trump disagrees, if he believes that American citizens had no right to hear what these women had to say, and that the law of the country forces us and those who would dare to criticize him to stand silent or be punished, we welcome the opportunity to have a court set him straight. Sincerely, David E. McCraw.
David E. McCraw.
David E. McCraw.
We'll stick that in your McCraw.
Stick that in your McCraw and smoke it.
So you definitely just repeated what I said.
I added and smoke it.
Oh, okay.
That makes it transformational. I did not just commit copyright infringement.
I didn't copyright what I just said, so don't worry about it.
I think it's copyrighted by you, just you saying it. I think it's just implicit. It was an idea you had, and it's just out there.
All right, so I have a topic.
Mr. Trump.
I have something to talk about that's not Mr. Trump for a second. Mm-hmm. We went to a bar last night after we went to Mega Maze to have a little bit of a bite to eat. Mm-hmm. We step in, and there's a band playing.
Isn't that the worst when there's a band playing?
So,
Where do they get off?
I don't understand, I don't understand the mindset of people that actually like
a band at a bar
or whatever. It's because when I go out with people, I want to socialize.
Sure.
I want to speak to the people that I'm around.
I hear that.
And so, exactly, when you're in a bar with a band, it's virtually impossible to hear what your friends are saying.
I think that is a fair assessment.
Especially if the place is small. So we went to this place because the Mega Maze is in Sterling, Mass, and we went to Clinton,
Sterling, Virginia,
which we went to Clinton, which used to be, I don't know if it still is, because every bar we went to was either closed or like everything was like boarded up. Like, it's like, what happened to that poor little town?
Making America great again.
Yeah, I guess. So like we went to this place called Civil Man Saloon. Mm-hmm. I think we had been there before. We went there for music bingo.
Okay.
It was just basically they played songs. Mm-hmm. If you had the song on your bingo card, you marked it off.
I like it.
But so you also had to know what songs they were and who the artist was or whatever.
Yeah.
It was more than just putting it
B7.
Yeah. You actually had to know things about the music that was playing. Mm. So we did that one time, but then we went back and they were doing the band and it was way too fucking loud.
Yeah.
Like, especially like in a place as large as that place, and it's not a big place. Mm-hmm. I don't think you need amplification.
I don't know what the... All right, so let me share my dumb anecdote regarding this, and then we'll get back to you, because it's all about me. No.
It's about us, Chris. It's about everybody. It's about our shared experiences.
Yes. So when I did the first edition of a thing called I Could Just Diary out in Portsmouth, the night that they held it happened to be the final night of the most recent time the Red Sox won the World Series.
So back in 2013.
2013.
That's when I moved to shortly after I moved to New Hampshire.
Yeah. So it's 2013. It's whatever night that was. And we have the event. And the event is actually pretty well attended, given that the Red Sox have the opportunity to clinch the World Series that night. But after the event, we go to a bar. I don't even know if I should say it. No, it wasn't the Coat. I don't remember which bar it was. It was a bar in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Now we get to the bar, and there's a guy there playing songs, solo acoustic, while everyone in the fucking restaurant is either, as you say, trying to have a conversation with their friends, because most of us just came from an event that this bar co-sponsored.
Yeah.
Or they're watching the fucking Red Sox game. And this guy... He was nice, he was talented, but he was getting bitter at times that nobody was paying attention to him. And I feel for him, because what the fuck was the bar thinking, booking this guy? I mean, maybe they booked him months in advance.
Yeah, they probably booked him months in advance. Because there's no way you're going to know that like the Red Sox are going to be playing in like late October.
Right. But does he not understand that he's in New England, and that there's a certain amount of interest in the fucking baseball team, especially if they're about to win the national championship? Like, I was listening to him as best I could because I felt bad for him. He was right there. So
you were like eager guy. You were like clapping really hard every time?
I was not clapping really hard, but I was clapping enough. Although it was the same feeling of like, I'm here to have a conversation with my friends, and every once in a while look up at the TV screens and see if the Sox have won yet. And here he is, and he's having a rough time. And I'm an artist. I know what it's like to be having a rough time with a crowd. But it's just like, dude, just accept that nobody's really listening to you and get on with it.
I don't know, like, I know it's important for people that are artists to have opportunities to play in a venue.
Right.
But, like, from a bar owner's perspective, does that band or whatever attract more business, or does it send more away?
See, I don't know.
There was 6 of us last night.
Yeah.
We walked in and it was like fucking loud.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to figure, like, you know, like, a couple of the girls went to the bathroom, and we, like, my buddy Mike and I were just talking, and, well, I was talking and he was not able to hear me despite me speaking in a louder tone than I normally do, and I'm a pretty loud guy. I think anybody that's been in me, ew. Been weird.
Do you get really loud when they're in you?
Don't you imagine I would? Anybody that's been around me knows that I'm a pretty loud person,
Sure.
especially if I've had a couple of drinks. I hadn't at this point. I would have liked to, but it was too fucking loud. So like I'm trying to devise the plan because we were waiting on 2 other people.
Yeah.
And to show up because we're like, hey, well, let's meet here after blah blah blah.
Right.
And so I'm like, dude, let's just after the girls get back from the bathroom, let's go outside and we'll try to figure out another place to go.
Yeah. Right.
And it was just like, and he's like, what? And then
What?
So basically,
What you saying, Steve?
They come back from the bathroom, and then
Yeah.
I try to explain the same thing to them.
What?
And I think they have
What'd
it in
you
their
say?
stop. I think they have it in their brains that they agree with me, but even though they don't know what I'm saying, but they kind of like had the idea that that's what I was saying.
Right.
Then the bartender came over and was like, do you want anything to drink? And we were like, probably not going to stay because it's too loud. And then she was like, what?
That happened to, so I mean I did a ton of stuff in Portsmouth, as people maybe know from listening to us for 2 years now. I did a ton of stuff in Portsmouth for a while. I did a lot of acting out there, and we would go out after shows to a place called the Rusty Hammer, which was was the closest bar outside of an Italian restaurant, which was sometimes open and then was closed for a while, and then was sometimes open at the end of the time that I was doing a ton of shows there. So basically, the Hammer was where you went after you did a show.
It used to be a larger place, and then they kind of sliced it in half.
It did. I think there was a problem with the rent was going to go way up on the other half of it, or some damn thing. But at any rate, like the last few times that we went there, sometimes there was a DJ. And a DJ playing really loud dance music in a place that didn't really have a big dance floor.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I understand you want to give opportunities to people. You want to have music. You want to have whatever to get people in. But I think you're right. I think the reason more people go into a bar as opposed to a dance club or a rock club or whatever.
Yeah.
People go into a bar is to sit and fucking chat with their pals.
And I understand like karaoke nights or trivia nights or stuff like
Right.
that. Because karaoke nights, the people that are there,
Yeah.
your customers are the people that are performing.
Right.
And not like some randos that you hired for,
Yeah.
probably way too much or not enough.
Yeah.
There's probably no middle ground of where the amount of money that these people are getting.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite example of the in between those two things is the Jukebox Heroes, who play at, I don't know if they still play, but they play on Lansdowne Street, and they do live band karaoke. And I feel terrible for those guys because they're a good band, and I imagine if one of them stepped up to the mic to sing, they would do a decent job. But basically, what they're in this really weird position where it's karaoke night, so they're subject to the whims of drunk people deciding to sing songs that then they have to play as
so they have to play Love Shack a lot.
I don't know if Love Shack is even in their repertoire. I know that when I went there the very first time, I did
or Piano Man. Jesus fucking Christ! When people play or sing that song in karaoke, they should be like, that's just like when I'm
raising my hand right now because I did it once, and it was a friend.
Did people
of mine,
roll their eyes?
Well, a friend of a friend of mine, who was kind of a friend of mine at the time.
Was it John, who's at the bar, who's a friend of yours?
No, it was not John at the bar. It was Paul. He's a real estate novelist. He never had time for a wife. So Paul.
That's code for gay.
The real estate novelist part, or never had time for a wife?
There you go.
What the fuck does real estate novelist mean?
It means he writes books about buildings. I don't know.
I want to find Billy Joel and be, what the fuck does that line mean? Anyway, so no, there was a friend of a friend who was the DJ that night, and I requested Piano Man, not knowing, because I had barely been to karaoke, and I didn't remember how long Piano Man was.
It's a really long, really depressing song about fucking people drinking.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to that person.
The alcoholic Billy Joel, or the allegedly alcoholic Billy Joel.
Allegedly, we don't want to commit.
I think he's a drunk, but
smander.
My opinion doesn't matter at all.
No, so like the Jukebox Heroes, they have to play whatever.
Stop saying juke.
Juke. Don't
It sounds
say
like you're saying jukebox heroes.
juke.
Okay.
Jukebox heroes.
I don't want like if any of our Hebrew listeners are listening, that they're not offended by you saying jukebox heroes.
Yeah, as long as we don't say anything about the state of Israel, I think we're okay.
What?
Or Palestine. I think we're all right.
Shuber Shabbos.
No, so like I feel bad for them, except for the fact that when I went up there and I requested to play, it was a Cure song in between days. I don't know. No, it was an up tempo. It was an up tempo Cure song.
Oh, what?
But it was an up tempo Cure song with a really repetitive guitar line, and of course the leader of the band, who's the guitar player, said as much, and then realized I was standing right there, and he was like, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And we did we did a great job of that. But yeah, I don't know. So you didn't get to talk. Did you end up at a different bar?
Yes. We walked up the street and we made the people outside the place laugh a bunch because we were like, I forget which of us said it was we were walking up to it. I don't think it was me, so I'm not taking credit. But somebody was like, "Ooh, it's a bar and grill." So we walked in and like there was an enormous table that was just needed to be cleaned off.
Right. Yeah.
And we could have easily sat down at it. So we walked in. We're like, "We have 6." And they're like, "Oh, it's going to be about 45 minutes." And we're like, "No, thanks." And then we walked right back out. No. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, just clean off that fucking table that's right there, and we'll sit there and eat and fucking like spend money here." Like, are we too?
Did they have another party of 6 standing in the wings?
There was no one else fucking there waiting.
Okay. I mean, I've never worked in food service. I've never been a concierge or anything like that. So I don't get how that shit works. I don't want to criticize them, but
if you have a restaurant that is mostly full, then you should be
thankful.
You should be fully staffed for the night. You shouldn't have cut anybody if your restaurant is still mostly full at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And if you have a table that's open, you should give it to people so you can serve them food and drink and make money off of them.
Yeah, yeah. I would think so. That would seem to be the sensible economics of the whole thing.
That guy that was like the host kind of looked like Ken Bone from the fucking
Ken Bone. Oh, I heard a nasty thing about him afterwards, and I can't remember what the hell it was. Everyone was like really. Like, I love Ken Bone. I love that he asked that question.
I didn't even know what question did he ask.
I think he asked if, like, could you say something nice about the other candidate? I think he was the guy who asked that question at the end, which made the debate end on actually like a positive note. But then in the aftermath, I think somebody uncovered something that was pretty heinous about Ken Bone. He was also like putting out.
Was he like a Gamergator or something?
It was worse than that.
Worse than a Gamergator.
Worse than a Gamergator. That's
what exactly.
I don't remember.
You gotta look it up.
I gotta look it up.
We ended up.
What did Ken Bone do?
We ended up at the British Beer Company in Westford, though. But that's like. But then another band was there. But
bands.
Okay, but the thing is, the band there.
Yeah.
Wasn't as loud.
Okay.
And they were playing songs from like the mid to late 90s, which got us all sort of nostalgic, so we were kind of okay with it. And it wasn't just some really loud band playing their originals that I have fucking no interest in listening to.
Yeah. Here's what he said. Apparently he has owned up to it, which is interesting. So
what? No one does that in real life.
He has owned up to
was he just an internet troll or
so this is Ian Miles Chong, who has a blue check mark, so he's important on Twitter. If you got a blue check mark.
Is he related to Tommy Chong?
Spelled differently. Speaking of Tommy Chong, the first night that I did I Could Just Diary, his daughter was the featured performer at I Could Just Diary.
Did you meet her?
I did meet her. I sat at a table with her and had conversations with her afterwards while that guy was playing his guitar and trying to drown out the Red Sox in our conversation.
Oh, so it was
Radon Chong.
Yeah, she was in what the fuck movie was that?
She was great. She was very, very nice.
She was in what was that movie? She was in Soul Man, wasn't she?
I don't remember.
Now
you're making me look up one more thing.
I'll look up the Soul Man
All right.
thing. You look up.
Here's what we got about Ken Bone. So Ian Miles Chong at Still Gray. I'm saying all of that so I can remember to put it in the show notes. Or maybe I'll just favorite it. Hold on. I'm favoriting your tweet, Ian Miles Chong. Ian Miles Chong.
Ooh, it makes a noise and everything.
It makes a noise and everything. Ken Bone owns up to his past statements on Reddit, showing that he has more class than any of the journalists who attempted to ruin him. He says, quote, this is Ken Bone, if you read the whole post on Trayvon Martin. So I guess I remember now what was going on was the thing that went around a couple of days after everyone was psyched about Ken Bone was that he said that the killing of Trayvon Martin was justified. So this is him owning up to it. If you read the whole post on the Trayvon Martin tragedy, you'll see that I said, based on what I read, which was the release from the DOJ, the shooting was ruled as legally justified, he wrote. It was also an awful thing to happen. Just because it was legal does not mean it was a right. I wish Trayvon were still alive. On his posts about Ms. Lawrence, this was something I didn't hear about, he had this to say, quote, it was a joke in poor taste made from my former anonymity. I take full responsibility for saying it. I wholeheartedly apologize and wish I could do so to her directly.
Oh, I really wish that at some point, if we ever get any sort of fame, that some offhand comment we made in episode 54, that they're somebody picks it apart and says it's the most offensive thing that they've ever heard in their fucking life.
Yep.
God damn it, motherfuckers, grow up.
Now that he is the opposite of anonymous, Mr. Bone would like everyone to know something. Quote, my message has been one about elevating the level of conversation. And if I want to hold our leaders accountable for their words, I must be accountable for mine.
Well, I mean, it's fine that he said all that, but it just pisses me off that that they're like, oh, he said a thing that isn't popular. So obviously we need to ostracize him. Yeah. I mean, obviously Trayvon Martin shouldn't have been killed by that fucking idiot. Right. Yeah. Oh, that guy that I think is an idiot.
Yeah. So, and then just on my search for Ken Bone, there's all sorts of things. The rise and fall of Ken Bone, so on and so forth. But I'm actually glad that one that I found was the first one to come up. At any rate, so Ken Bone. This drink was strong. I'm trying. I think I decided I wanted to try and drink it so that I'd have time between when I finish drinking it and the end of the show to sober up or feel less buzzed or whatever. Oh, what a wonderful!
Was that really loud?
Yeah, it wasn't that loud.
I tried to turn away from the mic.
No, it didn't even peak.
Oh, good.
Didn't even peak. You ended up at another bar. They weren't as loud.
Yeah, but the thing is, the booth that we were in was just shitty. I don't know. We just had a bunch of bad luck as far as restaurants go that evening.
Yeah. I mean, you had good luck at the maze.
Yeah, we had
Krusty.
We had good luck. Well, the thing is, the first half of the maze, we got lost a number of times, and we eventually figured our way to the midpoint, and then it was smooth sailing the second half.
All right,
because we very shortly after we made it to the halfway point, maybe 10, 15 minutes, we were out.
Nice.
We did it in less than an hour.
An accomplishment.
We did it in less than an hour in the dark. So.
In the dark?
Yeah, we did it the nighttime mazing.
I could not in the dark.
Yes, you could.
I could not with a shark.
What? So there was a thing that happened. We were walking through the halls of my work the other day.
The halls of Montezuma?
No.
All the way to the shores of Tripoli?
The halls of the place that I work. I was walking through with some of my new colleagues, and I made a reference. So it's weird how the HVAC works in our building. It's a lot of the offices tend to be a lot warmer, and then a lot of the if you walk into an area, it seems like you're walking into a different climate.
Okay.
As far as it's cool or it's warm or whatever.
Yeah.
And I start walking down the hall, and as we're walking to a meeting, I go, geez. The way the climate changes in all these sections of the building, it's like different islands on the Grand Line, which I don't know if you have anything left in your glass.
I just drank just before that. I hope that counts because
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go up and make another one.
But
I wouldn't even know what to do.
But which is a reference to One Piece, and the person that was standing next to me simply agreed with me. I don't, and I didn't press,
Right,
because I didn't want to. Like, I'd rather she think that she either was just saying, yeah, sure, just to be a nice person,
Right.
or legitimately knew what I was talking about. Either way is great.
Right, yeah. But if you pressed, you might have found out something disappointing.
Yeah, I didn't want to get disappointed, so I just was just like, I'm gonna leave that and be like, okay, that's great. So I'm sure Brian will appreciate that. Where I'm just talking about weird. Well, it's not necessarily like it's not like a crazy One Piece reference,
No,
like
but
you remember in the G8 or no.
G8?
Was it G8 filler or whatever?
Summit?
Some sort or fucking.
I don't know. I still haven't watched an episode or read a panel. I'm
You didn't read any of it when I let you borrow?
No.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
I must have read at least a couple of pages, but I'm terrible like that. I've only just recently discovered that the way that I like to read things, at least now, is on my super honkin' big phone in the mornings in the dark. I read a good 10 or 20 pages. Well, I don't know.
Whistling in the dark.
In the dark.
Whistling in the dark.
In the dark.
Stop repeating what I say.
What I say.
All right, so what else is on the
Or
list?
I will do it with a shark.
How much time do we have left?
It is 45:40.
Radon Chong was in fact in Soul Man.
Soul Man.
The 80s answer to Al Jolson.
Oh, okay.
With
what
C.
else?
Thomas Howell doing blackface.
That's a good thing. That's a grand thing.
Yeah, people love it.
An amazing good time. What else is on the list? I believe you just asked me that. Well, here's three things. A trip to the Berkshires / Mohawk Trail, Steve's NFL boycott,
We haven't brought it up yet, really.
and the Macho Man Hogan video that I shared with you on Twitter.
We can come back to the Hogan Macho Man thing. But the thing is, we haven't talked so much about the Patriots.
No.
Last year we had a big thing.
They just won their football game by a score of
35
to 17.
Yes, so we won that one handily like we did last week.
Yes. Although we were in trouble early.
Early in this particular game?
Early in the game, we were not.
I wouldn't say we were in trouble because I looked at the score and it was 0-0 at the end of the first.
At the end of the first, well, so maybe it was the second period.
Yeah,
the second.
They were playing hockey. That's probably why we're having so much trouble.
Why do we get pads on? Why do we get skates on this field? It's fucking weird. Yeah, sorry. So it's been a while. We haven't talked about the Patriots.
And last year, if you remember,
every week
we would talk about them. And our bit last year was how did the Patriots cheat this week?
Mm-hmm. And then all that cheating caught up to them. Yeah,
because they didn't win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, and Mr. Tom Brady was out for the first 4 games.
But the thing is, I was boycotting because. I didn't I haven't watched the last 2, but the games that I was boycotting were the ones that Brady wasn't allowed to participate in, and just because and I probably should have talked about it prior to now, where it would have actually been a message that could have come across as like, hey, join with me in this boycott instead of like, hey, I boycotted and no one knew about it.
You were so busy boycotting, I didn't
even bother telling anybody.
Yeah.
But it's just like I understand that they are a private organization that can discipline the members of their organization however they please, and I get that that's good for the organization, but it's not necessarily good for the employees of that organization. Right. And even though Tom Brady and the fucking rest of the players on the Patriots and whatnot make an obscene amount of money more than I do, I still am going to always side
with the employees.
with labor over the fucking corporation that owns them.
I am right there with you. I don't have the strength of you, even though I don't really have that much time to watch games. I did watch bits and pieces.
Well, the thing is, like in your household,
Yes.
your father is not going to sit there and be like
and not watch football.
He
bets on football every week. He gets the whole family involved in what's called a suicide pool, which is a weird name. I think that's what it's called.
Maybe think of a better name for it.
Maybe that's not what it's called. But the idea is it can't be called that. I don't know. But it's you pick a different team every week to win, and once you've picked that team.
You can't pick another. You can't pick them again.
You can't pick them again.
So if you pick the Pats,
yeah,
like you can't pick the Pats again. So like
my girls have picked the Pats the previous 2 weeks, which reminds me I got to check while you say something as to whether or not my girls both made it through. Well, obviously, the one who picked the Pats made it through.
Yes, and I imagine
the BFL. That's what I'm looking for.
But they made it through the first number of weeks prior to the Pats.
Right. Yes.
They should have maybe always bet against the Browns.
I think that's what we were doing for a little while there. And
oh, poor Cleveland. Oh, how are they doing against the Blue Jays, actually?
Against the Blue Jays?
No, not the Browns, but like the Indians.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know.
Because the Indians, they spanked us pretty hard in the ALDS.
They definitely did.
And brought Big Poppy's final season to a close.
To a rather depressing close. Cleveland beat the Blue Jays 2-1 yesterday. I don't know
what does the series say. Usually says
say?
What the series says.
It does not show it on this particular
what the fuck, dude?
Thing. I don't know. I don't know. That was just game 2. I mean, that was game 1. So game 2 isn't until tonight. Yeah. So
they won the first 2.
They won. No, they won. Oh, sorry. It brought me to a different fucking thingamajiggy. It brought me to the NLCS.
So yeah, Cleveland won 2-0 on Friday, and they won 2-1 on yesterday, and so they're playing again tomorrow.
The good old Indians.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the teams that I would want to win the World Series that are left are the Cleveland Indians, at least on the American League.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they beat us, I'd rather they go than the Blue Jays, who won more recently, because the Indians haven't won since like the 60s.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Chicago Cubs.
The Cubbies. How can you root against the Cubbies? Come on.
I guess
have
if you're
heart if you're rooting against the Cubs.
I guess if you're just like you are
Who are the Cubs playing?
If you're a divisional rival, I guess that might be a reason. But if you're like just some guy from Boston, like you can't not as far as like a drought in championship winning isms. The Cubs have the longest, I think, ever in any sport.
Got to go back in time and put some money on the Cubbies.
No, they should have won last year.
They should have won last year. Against Miami, which of course isn't possible.
Yeah, because they're in the same.
They're in the same team. But if they had won the NLCS against Miami, then it would have been.
So in the movie, the Cubs win the World Series. That's like the big headline that Marty sees on the whatever the fuck hollow billboard.
hollow dildo.
Hollow dildo.
Hollow dildo. I don't know. A hollow dildo, is that better than a whole dildo?
I think a hollow dildo.
Solid dildo.
Oh, okay. So like you're not talking about a hologram of a dildo. You're talking
I'm talking about that
a dildo
too.
that has nothing in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well,
you could fill with like the cream that they have in a Twinkie and have it squirt.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Tell me you wouldn't want to have the cream of a Twinkie sprayed all over your face. I'm just saying, come on. You would like that.
Would I?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think just like everybody has to be a Cubbies fan this year, everybody has to be a fan of having a Twinkie sprayed over their face. I think it's just a thing that has to happen.
No.
I'm sorry, I've had too much to drink.
You want to hang out for a little bit after the show?
No. It's just a bit for the show.
Okay.
Twinkie cum. That's
a twink is a
twink is a gay man.
Yeah, it's a hairless gay man.
Typically
hairless and slight of frame.
Is a twink the opposite of a bear, or is a twink just like different from a bear?
I think you could consider them the opposite of a bear.
Okay.
I don't know those
of
you in the
twink and Yogi is a bear.
Those of you in the gay community, you could correct us because we're not experts on
We've had this conversation before, which is the strange fucking thing. Like, I just remembered there's an episode somewhere in the back catalog where we talked about the definitions of twinks and bears and weasels. No, not weasels. What the hell is the other one I remember hearing about? Otters. Otters.
I don't know what an otter is.
I don't remember what an otter
they like
is
being
either.
wet.
But no, when
they like coming out of the water and waving.
When I listened to Kevin Smith's universe of podcasts a lot back in the day, Scott Mosier, his co-host on Smodcast, talked about
and his producer in almost every single one of his movies.
Yes, he talked about being an otter, or Kevin talked about Mosier being an otter, one way or the other. But I forget exactly what an otter
likes being hot and wet.
Doesn't everybody? We're all otters deep down inside.
So yeah, I boycotted the Patriots because I was sort of supporting the labor in the situation.
Sure.
I don't like the fact that a private company can just suspend. I mean, if he was, despite like the fact that he might have been suspended with pay, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know the particulars.
Right.
Pay or not, like, you know, this is a person that is valuable to an organization, and you're going to suspend them because of basically nothing, because Jim Irsay is a whiny, in my opinion, a whiny asshole.
Well, I mean, they are an organization that, at least at the top, doesn't seem to know what the fuck they're doing. I saw a tweet, I don't think I favorited it, but they have prohibited NFL teams from creating their own GIFs online or their own replays or whatever of material. I think all of that has to come through the official NFL Twitter or Facebook or whatever. So I don't know if it was Cleveland or Cincinnati or whoever it was, instead of being able to show an image of their own team scoring a touchdown, had an image of, I don't know if it was a foosball table or like just like models of a team, that they did like a stop motion animation of somebody scoring a touchdown, because according to the NFL now, they cannot create their own live action clips of their team scoring points or doing
fucking nonsense.
I don't understand.
How about this, NFL? Pay taxes.
That would be great.
You know what? This non-profit organization that you fucking are, that makes fuck tons of money every year, that apparently doesn't need to pay taxes, but the average individual that's watching and consuming your product does. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing that I'm fucking pissed about.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you fuckers. The fuck Major League Baseball pays fucking taxes.
Do they really?
Well, at least if the teams exceed like the salary cap, which is fucking all of them.
Yeah.
Or except for like the Royals.
I get the feeling I should like baseball more. I just don't. I couldn't give two shits. It's such a boring fucking game.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't know. I grew up like, well, you and I both played baseball when we were younger.
I sucked at it.
Yeah, so did I. Like, but
I was pretty good when the dads who were the coaches still pitched to us. When the dads pitched to us, I was awesome.
But then when it was actually another player.
Once it was somebody my own age pitching to me, I couldn't hit the fucking ball to save my life.
Well, the thing is, like, it's just baseball is a slower game. It is. Yeah. It is boring if you're.
I mean, it's boring like hockey and soccer are boring too. I mean,
hockey is not boring.
Hockey is fucking boring. That the fucking puck just goes back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like contact. There's a lot of like there's
not a lot of scoring.
No, but there's a lot of like I don't know. I don't think hockey's boring. Okay. I don't necessarily.
In my opinion, I don't want to slander you, Steve. In my opinion, hockey is boring.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not as boring. As but the thing is, like, I don't understand the rule. Like the game that I understand the rules most is baseball.
Sure.
Because I played it and it's easier to understand because the gameplay is slower.
Right.
And so there's occasionally a weird rule like a balk or something like that. You're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, yeah. What does a balk mean? Yeah.
So I think it's if the pitcher is intending on pitching the ball but ends up not pitching the ball and throwing to first, that's a balk. And then like the person,
if he's like part of the way through the motion of the swing, not the swing of the pitch, but then pitches.
But then, and then goes to pick off the first base or the person at first base, then or whatever base. Then that's a balk, and then they have the person that's at whatever base goes and takes the next base.
Yeah, I don't know. Give me 3 periods of basketball any day.
Was that when like you're hanging out with like some ladies that are having their time?
It's a WNBA game.
And then
I'm sorry. I hate myself for saying that.
Yuckers.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, we can disagree. We can agree to disagree.
But the thing is, like, baseball is something like I've always been somebody that likes to listen to things as opposed to watch them. Like, and baseball is the perfect sport to listen to.
I would agree with that. Baseball is easier to listen to than say football. I was listening to the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter of the Patriots game on my way over here, and it's hard to listen to football, man.
Because like you're just like something's near side, blah, 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 blah,
moving from left to right, like going down up the like.
They have to explain so many things that are happening that you're like your brain doesn't like unless you're like very high functioning brain.
Yeah,
it doesn't know how to translate that into what is actually happening. But baseball, you're like. Wind up and the pitch, low and outside,
and then you hear the fucking crack of the bat.
Yeah, you hear it's like, oh, it's a high fly ball deep to center field. It's off the wall and up.
And actually, like if you think about that, the baseball announcers give more. This could be really fucking artistic and whatever about this, but the baseball announcers tend to give more space to the audio of the game because if you hear the crack of the bat. You don't even need somebody to tell you what is going on, as opposed to a football game where you need somebody to say, "Oh, somebody caught the pass," and you can't hear a ball hitting somebody's jersey, like somebody catching it. You can hear the hits, and they finally kind of shut up when you hear the hits sometimes. But that's the thing about football on radio is that it's just nonstop talking from people that sometimes you wish would shut up, as opposed to baseball where they do shut up for the moment where the crack of the bat might tell the whole story.
And the thing is, like there's a lot more openings in as far as like the broadcast of a baseball game for just idle chatter.
Sure.
And so like some silly things can come out of that, and like you. When you're listening to a broadcaster like that, you can find yourself. You can find them more endearing than someone that's just being like blah 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 blah. This is all the stuff that's happening, and then when stuff stops happening, here's a commercial break, and then because that's the way we do things. But like in baseball, the commercial breaks are between innings. Yeah.
Well, we're out of time, but I gotta say, I've had a turnaround about commercials and ads. We should save that for next time.
Oh, really?
A little bit. I'm considering getting rid of the ad blocker on my computer and my phone because I'm feeling a little guilty.
Like a Guilty Gear X?
Guilty. I don't have anything left.
That's not One Piece. That was just like a video game.
Guilty Gear X. All right. Should we wrap it up?
Sure. Wrap it up. I'll take it.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Let's lick it up.
Oh.
Next weekend, if you're interested, anybody that's in the area and wants to come meet us, or at least meet me, come to Canopy Lake Park next weekend. I'm not getting
the time.
Nope, we're going to Fright Fest, Canopy Lake next weekend. If you want to meet one of your favorite radio personality or podcast personalities,
yes,
and know what I look like.
And see Mini Kiss.
No, it's just regular plain old Kiss, and I hope they play Lick It Up.
Like real Kiss or like a Kiss tribute band?
Kiss tribute band. Okay. There's no way that Gene Simmons would set foot in Canopy Lake Park.
Except if it was 1973, 72, 70. That's when Aerosmith played there. My dad opened for them.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
You can find the show notes for this episode at clarkwoods.com/hot/116. And if you'd like to comment on anything we've had to say, you can send that email to hot@clarkwoods.com. Or you can tweet us, where I am at ECC1977.
And I am at Tuesday is Loser. That's Tuesday, I-S, Loser, all one word.
All one. All for one and one for all.
And so just make sure that, you trail off into something incredibly not funny before We end the show
with a.
I'm not even gonna. We're not even gonna be funny to end the show.
No, not at all.
Not funny.